So you've heard the saying, give them bread and circuses and they will be happy. That came from Roman times. And basically, when things were going downhill within society, they gave them bread and circuses, the Colosseum, etc. That kept them pleased. Since then, times moved on a lot. We obviously got football, which keeps people happy, reality TV that keeps people happy, Coronation, EastEnders, all that kind of rubbish that keeps people's minds occupied with something else. And then you give them the social media, which keeps them occupied. But you also need division. So what you do is you pull on the heartstrings of one side or the other, and you tell them that it's the other side that's causing this problem. When you look at, say, for instance, Hope Not Hate, etc., they are funded, okay? Who are they funded by? Well, they're going to be funded by the same people that are funding their opposition as well. Because when you look through history, one of the biggest money makers there ever was war. And when you look into the history of who funded said wars, you find out that usually there are a group of individuals that will fund both sides because you cannot lose. Now you filter that down into smaller divisions because we need to, and then you find out that, say for instance, many people who we look up to in social media, TV, activism or whatever will be funded, knowingly or unknowingly. That's the key thing. Not all of them have a clue where that money actually comes from, but they'll be funded, and they'll also be told that you need to stick to this sort of type of activism. You need to stay away from that, don't worry about that, we'll deal with this, right? You're doing a great job. And on the other side, they'll be telling them that these people over here, the ones that they just funded, by the way, the ones on, say, for instance, the right, they'll go to the left, they'll fund them, and they'll tell them that these people over here are the problem. Now, you need to let your people know that they're the problem, and they'll come up with a completely different approach to those people as they do to these people. And then those people will go to war, metaphorically speaking, okay? So the propaganda war will start, and that propaganda war will lead to eventually civil unrest and other problems like that. Why, you ask? Well, when you want to get away with stuff, or you want to change the dynamic of a country, you want to change the political direction of a country, you want to change the finance of the country, the demographic, or whatever it is that you want to do, you can't just do it. That's an impossibility, because people will obviously go, hang on a minute. So what you need to do is keep these people's minds occupied so much. Now, if you remember, there was that one that the guy that wrote 1984, his biggest fear was that there would be a complete lack of freedom of speech and that nobody would be able to talk about anything. And there was another guy, and I can't remember his name, but if Dafter's watching this, he'll put it in the comments, because he actually set the meme up there and I looked into it. There was another guy that said our biggest problem going forward won't be a lack of information, it will be that we will be absolutely bombarded and flooded with information until the point that you become almost numb. So what we'll end up doing is being flooded by the wrong information, okay, and starved of the correct information. Now that is clever, and that means not just Orwell was correct, but the other guy, which I can't remember the name again, but I'm sure you lot will. So at the moment, what we're dealing with is we have false idols. Now, I did say the Bible, I'm not going to get all religious on you, but it's a good point. Beware of false prophets, false, idol, whatever. Don't look up to people and put all of your trust within these people, hoping that they're going to save the day, because they won't. Some people are put there because they're great actors. Other people are put there because they believe in what they're doing, and these people will set them up for a fall and then throw them under the bus. One of said activists at the moment, many people have different views upon the person, whether his approaches are right or not, whether he's funded or not, whether he's doing it out of the kindness of his heart or whether he's making a lot of money out of it. But either way, that bloke has just gone to prison, and he's gone to prison for 18 months, which he'll do 9 of as long as he takes down the film that he put up. But it won't end there, because now they've got him there. Bearing in mind the amount of people that bloke managed to get out in the streets, like him or hate him, was absolutely astonishing. Now, bearing in mind, there are a lot of people that are new to the, whatever you want to call it, this movement, I suppose, who will look to people to look up to for information, like Tommy, Katie Hopkins, people over in America like Tucker Carlson, and many other people. They'll be looking at these people for the information, and a lot of the information they'll get from these people is correct. Okay, I mean, it's no, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that demographics are a massive problem. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to realise that we're on a collision course with a race war if it carries on like that. Not by our choice, by the way, but by the fact that these other colours and races will grow in numbers, and then they'll decide that they want to be the leader of said country, and that they want to make you, well, subjugate you. I mean, this is one of the main tenets of Islam. Now, who put Islam in here? Was it Islam? Well, Islam did want to be in it, okay? But they were also facilitated by others who don't like us. What I'm trying to say here is many of the people that you will look up to and you will follow at a later date, it will come out that these people were astroturfed. Now, you've heard, and I've said this before, but I'll explain again, there's a thing called Natural Green Shoots organisations that come from nothing. They spring up from nothing, and they gain traction really quick because they were lucky. This is where it went. People felt very passionate about this. Well, the same people that paid both sides were aware of this. So they went, what we need to do is catch the essence of that movement and have control of it before it starts, so that we have the ability to put our people into there, pay our people, and have the ability to completely destroy that movement at the time that it starts to get quite powerful, because you do not want any movement going out of power. A good example of that might have been the Nazis, Hitler. He was funded by the said opposition, and they won't like that. Okay, but there again, these same people had no respect for their own kind if they weren't of a certain kind, because many people within that religion fought each other. So he went a little bit off the reservation and caused a massive problem for them. They won't want to have that happen again. So you'll see any sort of movement will build up and then it'll fail. Some of this is part natural, because what will happen is there'll be narcissists, egotists, sociopaths, etc. drawn to such a movement because it will give them fame, notoriety, power and money. These are some of the key tenets that humans are flawed by. Now, if you start seeing somebody that raises or goes into the public and gains huge amounts of credibility, notoriety and following very quickly, you have to ask yourself some questions about them. A, are they being astroturfed? B, are they credible? C, are they funded? If they are funded, who by? What's the agenda? And this is something that you will notice. And there's been many YouTubers and other activists that have come into this and stopped. Good ones as well. Now, I can't help but think that they've realised that the complexity of what we face is that so many of the good people out there are following non-genuine people. They're following paid actors. They're following people who are being astroturfed to lead you astray and down the garden path and waste X amount of years of your life following an organisation that eventually will be doomed to fail, because that's exactly what it was meant to be. And you'll probably wonder why that there are no real true grassroots organisations that get anywhere. Well, because the same organisations monitor anything coming out of all work, and if it doesn't seem like it can be corrupted, they'll fuck it up. They'll wreck it. They'll end up setting the police or the system on you and getting you done for all sorts of stuff and getting you muted. I know this because I've been approached by that system, and when that system found out that I wasn't interested in money, the other people from these big movements decided that because I talked about topics that they didn't like, i.e. I was critical of all people when they fucked up, didn't leave a special bunch of people out of it, right? I got called names, as you'd expect, which, to be honest, was quite annoying and almost hurtful at the time because I was new. But now I realise that these same people are the problem, but they're very convincing. So the point of this video is this: if you want to make any real change, then what you have to do is independently speak to somebody who doesn't know very much about anything at the moment, and just give them little bits of information and set them down the road of looking for real truth, real information. And if you could do that, you'll achieve a hell of a lot more than, I don't know, once a month going on a demonstration, even though they're good, right? Because they show that people are waking up, they show solidarity and stuff like that. Also, you feel good at these events. What I'm saying here, though, is if you want to achieve any real change, you've got to be able to speak openly in front of people and get them to start speaking openly, because when you do, you'll release their genie. And once they start, they won't go back. And this is the thing, we've got to have the bravery to actually be honest and call a spade a spade. Just say it as it is. It is this. It is that. These are the problems. And the more that people actually start coming out of the woodwork and just saying things for what they are, is when you'll find these deluded, freakish, weird, self-loathing, hating their own family, hating their history, hating their country. They hate everything. They're just fucked in the head. These same people will end up being closed down, naturally. Because they'll start opening their mouth and people will just ridicule them, which is what they need, because they're fucking idiots. Okay? For the last few months, I've been wondering, what the fuck what am I doing? What difference am I making? What aren't I making? And I suppose when I take my head out of my ass, because we all suffer with down moments and depression and stuff, and if you don't, you have no idea of what's coming, no conception of how deep and bad this is, no understanding of just how intertwined some of these forces that are on our side, we think, are networking amongst each other, and they're being handled by people who are literally causing the problem. When you realise this, it can be a bit lonely, a bit down. But I've still got to achieve what I can by telling people like yourself what you can do best, and it is literally just getting people in your community to admit what's going on, call it for what it is, because that's the start. Once you get them going, generally speaking, you can't stop. But I know so many people that go, well, it's not my problem, I don't care, I just want to go out and have fun. And you're like, there's so many fucking low IQ people out there, or low intelligence, low fucking, just fucking pillocks. And they get on my tits. But I can't help think that the system that's put us where we are now has designed the education system to keep these people as said pillocks, not to ask any questions. When you talk to a grown man and you hear him talking about how he watched EastEnders or Coronation last night, I'm like, okay, now it's embarrassing. But anyway, there it is. Right, I gotta go because I'm probably getting somewhere near where I need to be, and I'll speak to you in a bit.